and my guru, so that I might be able to say something that's a little useful tonight. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangum langhayate girim jatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum dinataranam. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhobhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. When I was a kid, maybe I was 11 years old when I first encountered yoga, late 50s. I don't remember exactly the context, but it was something on television. I lived in the LA area at the time. It was also the same time that I encountered beatniks. I thought both were pretty cool. In the late 60s, we thought yoga was getting to be pretty popular. In the 70s, we thought yoga was getting to be even more popular than in the 60s. In the 80s and the 90s, yoga became even bigger. Now, yoga is probably a multi-billion-dollar industry around the world. And when people think of yoga, they may think of Iyengar yoga, they may think of Ashtanga yoga, power yoga, Bikram yoga, or other less carefully branded names of hot yoga. So many things. And so many, we have so many kind of rock star yoga teachers nowadays that we see and hear of here and there. And we may have a set, and not to mention all the peripherals to the yoga industry. Anybody here not have a yoga mat? Okay, we'll get you that. You don't need a mat.
I don't like them.
You don't like them. You see people carrying around their yoga mats, and they got in their backpack, they got their yoga clothes, and there's so many yoga brands of everything nowadays. And then you've got the yoga blocks, the straps, the whole thing. Multi-billion-dollar industry, I believe. It's a big deal. And there are people who are into it for weight loss and other sort of health things and whatever. There are also people who are a little more interested in perhaps more esoteric aspects of yoga. But what not very many people really seem to understand is that yoga really is, actually it's ultimately a part of a complex of spiritual disciplines. The word yoga itself means to connect or link. And ultimately, the goal is to link with the Supreme, to link with the Godhead. Yoga really is the science of consciousness. If you read Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the very first sutra is, okay, let's talk about asanas. Now it's time to talk about asanas. The second sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is about calming all the waves of disturbances that happen in the consciousness, all the fluctuations of consciousness. That's really what yoga is about. And it's actually a very complex discipline. Several elements that many people may not be aware are essential to the real practice of yoga are things like controlling kaya mana vak, the body, controlling the body, but also controlling the mind and controlling the speech. There are yamas and niyamas that must be observed. rules and prohibitions, do's and don'ts. For some forms of yoga, celibacy is required. For meditation, for dhyana, celibacy is required. And the practice, even as described in Bhagavad Gita, can appear a little severe. It's not just going down to the hot yoga studio, putting on your, I don't know, I guess I'm dating myself if I call it spandex, but there it is. I'm not 22 anymore. But, getting out your yoga mat and looking cool in front of everybody else, or worrying about how cool you don't look because you can't do the archer thing just right. And you hope that the yoga teacher today will say, honor your body, do what feels right, don't push it, don't hurt yourself, as the nice New Age music goes on in the background. But yoga is really a discipline for controlling the body, the mind, and even the speech. Kaya, mana, and vak. Ultimately, it's meant for meditation. And there are different forms of yoga that are prescribed in the different Vedic texts. Jnana yoga, karma yoga, but ultimately they all point to bhakti yoga, because it's really bhakti. Well, first of all, without a little devotion, without assiduous effort, you can't have any success in any form of yoga. A little bhakti has to be mixed in to any form of yoga to have any success at all. But ultimately, yoga is a sadhana. It requires sadhana. Sadhana means a rigorous practice meant to attain a particular end. And another element that many people may not be aware is essential to yoga is Ishvara. Do I have it right? I'm a little nervous. Ishvara pranidhana. Ishvara means God, the Supreme Person, the fountainhead of all consciousness. And pranidhana means surrender. Ishvara pranidhana. This is essential. This is a core element of real yoga. So yoga that misses that might be good for you. It might help you with flexibility. Might even help you with controlling your mind to some extent and dealing with with different kinds of problems. But the real goal of yoga is to reconnect with that fountainhead of yoga. And because the discipline can be so severe, we see that actually it's practically not possible for most people today. I have friends who are very accomplished yogis, but they are also bhaktas. I have a friend who I've known since he was a boy. He's a very accomplished yoga teacher, Iyengar Yoga. His teacher was, what's his name? Pativi Joyce.
Are you talking about Noah?
Noah.
Yeah.
But the thing about Noah is also a bhakta, and has been. He was brought up like that by his mom, who I also know. So, for any kind of success in any form of yoga, some degree of bhakti has to be mixed in. But ultimately, it's meant to bring us to the platform of bhakti, because that is what ultimately links us. Devotion is what ultimately links us, the individual infinitesimal sparks of consciousness, with the fountainhead of consciousness. And that link is accomplished by culturing love for God. The ultimate, according to the yoga texts, the ultimate form of the Absolute is Krishna, who is all beautiful, and as Champakalata points out, since he's all powerful, He gets to be whoever he wants, do whatever he wants. He can even get in trouble if he wants, because for him it's fun. And we know so many things. So, and if we actually study the character and the pastimes of Krishna in what has got to be the ultimate yoga text, Srimad Bhagavad Purana, we'll see that actually the Krishna conception of God has to be supreme, because it's simply the most charming. It's the most attractive. It's simply delight. That's Krishna is. He has fun, and those who qualify themselves to play with him, they have as much fun, if not more. Because we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam and some of the other Bhakti texts that the devotee can actually become more powerful than God. Just like Mother Yashoda. Krishna sneaks back into the house, steals the butter, has a blast stealing the butter and getting butter all over the place. And Mother Yashoda comes back in all stern. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, not again? And he's, not me, Mommy. I didn't do it. So Mother Yashoda has power over Krishna. She can even punish him. She can tie him up even, just to keep him from getting into trouble and keep him from running away. Of course, he may cause even more trouble if she ties him up by dragging the churning mortar and tearing down a couple of trees that have been there for a long time, and all kinds of interesting, dramatic things happen after that. So this is really the ultimate goal of yoga, is to awaken bhakti so that we have the most intimate link with the most charming conception of the Absolute. That's, well, I was going to say that's conceivable, but it's not. We can attempt to talk about Krishna's charm, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's different opulences. We can attempt to talk about that. We can kind of scratch at the surface. But we can't really do it justice. Language can't really portray these things as they are. But we do our best. And the easiest way for the age in which we live, in which everyone is naturally disturbed, in which our consciousness is constantly fluctuating from this thing to that, and nowadays there's a whole science to agitating our consciousness. It's called advertising, and we see it everywhere. It's in, it's nowadays. It's not just on billboards and not just on the radio and television. It's in our email. And you want to connect with people you know, or do whatever you want to do, broadcast your message to the world through Facebook or something, and there's ads all over there. Wherever we go, there's advertising, and it is specifically designed to agitate our consciousness. And we go, I want this. Oh no, I want that. I want a Toyota Prius. Oh no, I want a Nissan Leaf, whatever it is. No, I want they don't make Humvees, those Hummers anymore, but whatever it is, I must have this deodorant, I must drink that beverage, or whatever it is. It's meant for agitating our minds. And the easiest way to actually regain control over our minds by singing. Scientific studies have shown that there are actually emotional, mental, physical health benefits to people singing together. And those of us who grew up maybe singing in choruses probably know this, or even ensembles. We know this. When I was a kid, that was actually my meditation, was my singing. That's when I wasn't insane. Especially 16, 17. I was insane if I wasn't singing. I was 16 or 17 after all. So, sorry, any 16 or 17-year-olds, I don't mean any offense, but life is very strange when you're that age. The world is seems a very strange place. So now, what we're singing is some kirtan. It's getting together to kirti, to sing kirti, the glories of Krishna. Sri Krishna Sankirtan. And there are some spiritual benefits to that, which I don't have time to discuss tonight, but many of you already know them. And that is the ultimate. It's the ultimate thing. Even in I was talked about Srimad Bhagavad Purana, the ultimate yoga text. The very last verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies Sankirtan as that which is able to destroy everything that causes disturbance in the age of Kali. So this Sankirtan yoga, this yoga of transcendental sound, this is actually the best yoga for the age. The other things aren't necessarily to be ignored or neglected or put down or anything like that. They have a place, but their real ultimate goal is to actually reconnect us, sparks of being, knowledge, and bliss, being, knowledge, and love, with the fountainhead of all being, knowledge, and love. And it also happens to be easy, and even more than that, happens to be fun. So it's something, as my guru used to say, what is the difficulty? Let us all engage in this Sankirtan yoga, this yoga of transcendental sound, and reconnect ourselves in love with the reservoir of all love.